Path of Exile 1's lore is stellar, but many people tune it out due to its presentation. However, it looks like Path of Exile 2 will step up in the story department. To prepare anyone who has not played PoE 1 or did give it a go but never got into the lore, but wants to know the essentials for Path of Exile 2, I present this video. Path of Exile 1's lore you need to know for Path of Exile 2. The Basics, Part 1 of 4. Moana Exiles Talkative try here with another Path of Exile 1 and 2 video. Like the video if you end up liking it, and make sure to subscribe to the channel for future content just like this. Thank you so much for watching. Topic 1. Wraeclast. Almost all of Path of Exile 1 and 2's stories occur on the continent of Wraeclast, defined very clearly as follows. Wraeclast is a dark, brutal continent, scarred by mysterious catastrophes of the past and inhabited by creatures of nightmare. The very environment challenges exiles who dare explore it. The land is swarmed by monsters, inhabited by restless dead, plagued by vagabonds, despots, and of course, criminals like the player character in Path of Exile 1. We arrive in Wraeclast originally as a form of punishment, unknowing that as an exile, those who banished us had far more dastardly intentions. There are tiny settlements across Wraeclast, points of fading light in this abyssal void, but they are far and few between. Across these safe havens lies endless troves of danger, beasts, and invaluable items, like uniques and virtue gems, which we'll discuss soon. In Path of Exile 2, it appears most of our journey will occur on the cursed wanderings of Wraeclast, though there's always a chance we venture far and wide, or to another realm entirely. We'll discover the truth soon enough. Topic 2. Virtue Gems. Among these treasured objects are arguably the most coveted artifacts across all of Wraeclast, Virtue Gems. These magical slags of rock embody all thaumaturgy, or magic, in Wraeclast. They are also the skill and support gems our characters use to power almost every single one of our abilities. Every virtue gem is mined from the Great Mount Veruso, the titanic mountain which houses a creature called the Beast, which we'll discuss in a few moments. It's theorized that virtue gems are crystallized corruption that feed off the willpower of their user. They allow us to conjure fire from thin air, imbue our weapons with giantish might, and alter our abilities to do the impossible. The number of virtue gems in the wild is unknown, with some equating their quantity to flecks of sand on a beach. But it's well known they all originate from Wraeclast and from within the Beast's confinements. In the past, civilizations attempted to encase virtue gems in their bodies, which led to catastrophic results, like the Gemlings. We'll talk about some of these civilizations momentarily. Over time, people discovered the best way to wield them was through weapons and other gear, which is why we slot them into our equipment in-game. We receive the immense power without the deadly cost. Without the strength intrinsic to virtue gems, it's certain exiles like us in Path of Exile 1 would be unable to face the tremendous horrors of Wraeclast. In Path of Exile 2, this is no different. Virtue gems remain the primary method of increasing our might and pushing further and further into the darkness and corruption of Wraeclast. Though thanks to some mechanical system changes, we may have a few questions about virtue gems that shall need answering. Topic 3. The Vaal. Now, let's explore 4 core civilizations and cultures integral to the story of Path of Exile 1, and most likely Path of Exile 2, beginning with the Vaal. The most ancient of advanced civilizations to walk the continent of Wraeclast were the Vaal. They predate most of the well-storied cultures and stories of the current day, and were among the first to begin experimenting with virtue gems. With them, they gained great power over other cultures and creatures of Wraeclast. One of the most famous savants of virtue gems was Doriani, a Vaal thaumaturgist who both led to the success and utter destruction of the Vaal. Or so it is thought. Although the Vaal were technologically advanced, with many of their remains in the present being high-functioning constructs and unbelievable structures, one of the most basic urges of humankind was their downfall: greed. Under the direction of Atziri, the last queen of the Vaal, Doriani pursued the secrets of immortality and unrivaled power over others. This pursuit ended in a cataclysmic event during which the vast majority of the Vaal were killed and their country wiped from the face of Wraeclast. Beings of pure chaos, like chaos itself, suggest there's more to this apocalyptic event than is currently surmised, that perhaps the Vaal saved Wraeclast from a terrible fate. But for now, all that's just a theory. With Path of Exile 2's third act heavily influenced by the Vaal and exploring their decrepit but beautiful lands, we're certain to discover more about their culture and influence over Wraeclast. Topic 4. The Karui. Another civilization native to the cruel land of Wraeclast are the Karui. They live across the Great Karui Archipelago and Yamakanui in tribes, often in combat with each other, and great civilizations who encroach on the land of Wraeclast, most notably the Eternals, who we'll discuss in a minute. Their vast conquest across mainland Wraeclast are recounted as legend, and the figures who led their hordes are some of the most well-known in all of history, notably King Kaum and Queen Hiri, Kaum's niece. In Path of Exile 2, it appears we might venture into the Karui afterlife, the halls of the dead, where all the iconic people from Karui legend reside. We're also going to Yamakanui itself. There, we'll likely learn much more about these Wraeclast natives, how their story unfolds 20 years after the events of Path of Exile 1. Topic 5. The Eternals. Descended from distant Wraeclast natives known as the Asmiri are the Eternals of the Eternal Empire. Ruled by a line of emperors from its capital of Sarn, the location of the Vaal Empire's long-gone capital, the Empire conquered a majority of mainland Wraeclast and subjected much of the populace to its rule. Additionally, they acted as an extension of the Vaal in terms of civilization and virtue gem study, with one of their head thaumaturgists, Malachi, progressing virtue gem and thaumaturgy research like an echo of Doriani. They even had an entire horde, bolstered by virtue gems inserted into the beam. The Gemling Legions. After years of successful rule by legendary figures like Tarkus Varuso and Emperor Azaro Frecius, the Eternal Empire buckled under the rule of Chittus Parandus and a revolt known as the Purity Rebellion, headed by the rebel Vaal. This conflict shaped the continent of Wraeclast and enveloped numerous pre-existing factions. At its core, the rebellion focused on the wiping clean of the use and experimentation of virtue gems and thaumaturgy and the embrace of a monotheistic religion. Vaal won, but in his victory and ascension to Emperor, Malachi, the aforementioned head thaumaturgist and imaginary descendant of Doriani, tricked Vaal. Malachi promised he could bring an end to all thaumaturgy, but ended up spewing forth the cataclysm from within the beast, which brought an end to the Eternal Empire, killing the bulk of those who lived across the land and further corrupting all of Wraeclast. More on the beast soon, and more on Malachi in the next video. Topic 6. The Templars. The Eternals were survived by the youngest of Wraeclast civilizations, the Templar of Oriath, a culture devoted to the worship of God and the endowment of an orderly world. These people live on a tiny island off the southeast coast of Wraeclast, their country founded by the followers of Innocence, banished by the ancient Asmiri. Though they boast godliness, order, and righteousness, their true actions showcase anything but. Their civilization is built on the backs of Karui slaves. Their leaders, the High Templars, are mostly corrupt and knee-deep in following in Doriani and Malachi's footsteps. If you choose to play as a Templar in Path of Exile 1, he espouses as much. Still, they are the preeminent and most powerful civilization still breathing in Path of Exile 1 for most of the game. By the time Path of Exile 2 rolls around, they are beleaguered and broken, but still alive. Hints point at their possible resurgence, with a new hero at their helm, but nothing is yet confirmed. Topic 7. The Gods. In the earliest stirrings of the world, mortals could rise to become bastions of power, ascending above their fleshy compatriots. These larger-than-life entities were and still are called Gods of Wraeclast. Their power was derived from sheer number of worshippers and belief in them, for the most part. This rise to prominence caused them to become immortal, at the cost of their own humanity. Up until the point the beast was created, mortals could ascend to godhood using divine power. After the creation of the beast, new gods could not rise with the help of divinity, but plenty of mortals absorbed power using the strength of corruption. More on the beast next. In Path of Exile 2, the gods of Wraeclast should be still alive and well, with many of the most well-known ones dead, killed by the protagonist of Path of Exile 1. It's a wonder which we'll encounter throughout the game, if we meet any at all, as the primary antagonists in PoE 2's campaign seem to be attempting to recreate the device that affected every god in existence. Topic 8. The Beast. Not all praise the monumental might championed by these all-powerful deities, and so one of their own, a god named Sin, engineered an abomination of a creature called the Beast, sometime between the prime of the Vaal and the wars of the Eternal Empire. Its creation ripped and spawned many magics in the world, and forced many gods into an eternal slumber, or suppressed their strength, and, many theorize, gave birth to thaumaturgy, and thusly, virtue gems. It would not be a stretch of reason to consider the Beast the source of all malformation in Wraeclast. It accomplished the weakening of the gods, but gave birth to what many believe to be a far greater evil. Iconic figures like Doriani, Atziri, Malachi, and High Templar Dominus all tapped into the power of the Beast, known to them and others as Nightmare or Darkness. As mentioned before, the Beast resides in Mount Veruso, outside Highgate. It is large enough to walk through and is likely the source of all virtue gems across the planet. Some of these icons, like Malachi, sought to tame the Beast, but ended up becoming corrupted servants of it, spreading nightmare just as the Beast does. Although it does not do so intentionally, it is merely a side effect of its creation and intended purpose at the hands of Sin. When we venture inside the Beast in Act 4 of Path of Exile 1, slay Malachi, and then slay the Beast, the gods awaken, but virtue gems and thaumaturgy remain intact. Corruption stays spread throughout the world, but divine power has returned. It's very, very curious indeed. The power stored inside the Beast was near unparalleled, and there are those who seek to replicate its sheer force of will over the entire world. We might just encounter some of those individuals in Path of Exile 2 as we chase the seed of corruption. Next up, the Path of Exile 1 campaign. Next up in this video series is the quick breakdown of Path of Exile 1's campaign, act by act, with each act's recap taking about 1 minute. Following that video will be a summary of Path of Exile 1's endgame stories like the Conquerors of the Atlas, the Shaper, and the Maven. A final video will follow, discussing which Path of Exile 1 League stories are likely important for Path of Exile 2, and laying out those stories. Is there anything else players need to know about Path of Exile 1's lore for Path of Exile 2? Let me know. If you like this video, like it and subscribe to Talkative for more content just like it. I'll see you in the next one, my fellow Exile.